Hello and welcome to Charles I. Granatell Memorial Stadium on the campus of Don Bosco Prep University as the Ridgewood Maroons take on the Don Bosco Prep Ironmen. And just like that, we are underway here at Don Bosco Prep. And John Andrew Spallanzani starts off with the ball for the Ironmen and gives it to Riley O'Sullivan. And now Don Bosco working it around the goal. Jack Gall with it. Gall back to Spallanzani. Russell Massey thought about giving it to O'Connell, but he's going to take it in. Defended by Alex Linton. Massey thinking about it. Tight defense by Linton, but now Massey with a seam. Thought about shooting it, but instead gives it back to Riley O'Connell. And for Don Bosco Prep, that is never a bad idea. O'Connell, basically the quarterback of this Don Bosco Prep offense. And O'Connell already found us open space, fires and scores! And just like that, 50 seconds in, Don Bosco Prep is on the board. It's 1-0. Riley O'Connell puts the Ironmen on the board. And he shows you right there why this man is going to be playing college lacrosse at Syracuse University in a couple seasons. And there was a foul called on the play, but it's waved off with the goal. Bosco will happily take the goal instead as they're up 1-0. Spallanzani on the face-off, fighting for it with Ridgewood, and Bosco with it again. Rubino behind the net gives it to Gall. Don Bosco Prep coming into this game ranked 13th overall in the state. They are 4-2, facing off against number 12 Ridgewood. Ridgewood is 3-2, and the Maroons come into this game trying to break a 2-game losing streak. Although those two losses came to number 1 and number 2 in the state. Number 1 Bergen Catholic on the 5th, and number 2 Mountain Lakes on the 10th. So nothing to be ashamed of there, but they count just the same. And now with the turnover, Ridgewood taking it back down the field. Stolen there by Jack Matola. And now Ridgewood working it around, looking for their first goal. Matt Shippey with it. Passes it around to Andrew Sider. The Maroons faced this same Don Bosco team last year in the playoffs, and the Ironmen ended their season with a defeat in the postseason. So the Maroons looking to avenge that defeat certainly here today. Alex Linton with it here, defended by Greg Pandice. Sider with it. Shippey now working around. Good passing by Ridgewood as they try and find the open space. Linton with it again. And Sider. Kieran McCullough, the goalie there. The pass just missed by Matt Laparo, the junior. Looked like he was going to take a shot, and he had a good one, but couldn't corral the pass, as our Ridgewood will have to start over here on the attack. Kieran McCullough, the goalie for Don Bosco Prep. Good passing again, but the pass missed that time by Owen Smith. Ball rolling around, and we get a push call on Don Bosco that allows Ridgewood to maintain possession. Sider with it. Passing it across. Shot misses, and Ridgewood will maintain possession. Smith's shot went just wide of the net. No problem there for McCullough. He just had to watch it fly by. But now Ridgewood still with the opportunity as we tick down towards 9 minutes. Don Bosco Prep with a 1-0 lead here. Smith with it again. Defended by Spallanzani. Now back behind the net to Matt Shippey. Smith now with it, thinking about a shot, but decided against it. Back to the top to Laparo. Good defense though by Bosco, and we get a whistle from the referee, and that's the end of that offensive opportunity for Ridgewood as Don Bosco Prep will take possession. Greg Pandice with it. Pandice on the left, the long stick midi and defenseman for the Ironmen, and now Spallanzani with it. Good checking by Ridgewood, and that will result in a turnover for Don Bosco. Great job by Ridgewood, by Matt Shippey and number 10 Owen Smith forcing the turnover. And now Ridgewood will be right back on offense as they attempt to tie this game. They trail 1-0 with 8:50 to go in the first quarter. Ryan Kelly with it. Kelly number 11, and now Ridgewood passing it around. Shippey. Sider now thinking about a pass in the middle, but decided against it. Laparo. Sider again fires it high and wide. And that'll be recovered by Matt Shippey, the senior. Ridgewood tossing it around. Good defense there by Pandice as he rejects that attempt by Laparo. Now passing it around. Ridgewood with an opportunity, but no shot there. Linton moving it around, just searching for a seam, searching for an opportunity. Defended well by Bosco. Smith with it. Spallanzani doing everything he can to make sure he doesn't have an open lane. Now Linton moving it around. Shippey. Sider. Trying to find that open lane for their first goal. Ridgewood working it around, slowly but surely. Smith thinking about a shot, fires it in the middle. Donovan's shot is saved by McCullough. And McCullough will add to his 66% save percentage on that one. And Don Bosco quickly out on the break as Spallanzani brings it up. Spallanzani and O'Connell, the two main cogs in Don Bosco's offensive attack all year long. Connor Carroll, a senior attack man. And now Jack Gall with it. Senior midi, moving it around. Don Bosco searching for an opportunity. Connor Carroll now moving it back up top. The Ironmen continuing to work it around. They already lead 1-0 as we tick down towards the halfway point here in the first quarter. O'Sullivan and Thomas Joyce at the top. Joyce, just a sophomore, looking for his first goal of the year, but instead decides to pass it off. Don Bosco moving it around. Brooks Rubino, and now Russell Massey. And now here is O'Connell. Here's that man again. Thinking about a shot, looking for a seam. Instead of pass, had an opportunity there, did Thomas Joyce, but he couldn't corral the pass, and as a result, Ridgewood takes possession, and down the field they go. Ryan Kelly, good movement, gets it to Owen Smith, but defended well by Don Bosco. And that is one of Don Bosco's strengths, is their defense. Guys like Greg Pandice, Michael Stapper, Dan Johnson, John Mullock, all going on to play college lacrosse. But that call goes against the Ironmen, and Ridgewood will start over again on the offensive attack. Moving it around slowly, Kelly and Smith. Back to Kelly. Behind the net, Shippey. Sider. Crossfield pass. Good passing by Ridgewood. Good ball movement as they try and find that open space, and McCullough keeping his eyes on the ball at all times as they try and hold on to this 1-0 lead. Oliver Sipple now and gives it back to the top spot. Ridgewood, not in any hurry here. They want to make sure they make use of their best opportunity rather than just taking a wild shot. Kelly and Smith out to the middle, fires at Andrews and scores. And we are even at 1. Into the top left corner, out of the reach of Kieran McCullough. And just like that, we are even at 1 with 4:54 to go in the first quarter. So you see the contrast here so far in styles. Don Bosco fast and furious, a very quick goal. They got out running and put one in the net. Ridgewood much more deliberate, not afraid to take a few minutes and make the passes around the net until something pops open. And both styles have resulted in goals for each team as we are even at 1. Face off, won by Ridgewood. Oliver Sipple, the senior, has it. Defended by Pandice, the senior headed to UMass. For Don Bosco. Ridgewood looking to take a 2-1 lead. Sider with it behind the net. Good defense, though, for Don Bosco by number 24, Christopher Howard. Ridgewood once again taking its time, and now coming into the mix is Matt Laparo, and he quickly takes a pass from Linton. Sider with it. Now, pass all the way across the field to Linton. Thinking about a shot, trying to find one. Takes one. But that ball went right into a Don Bosco player. Thomas Joyce was right there and almost ended up getting hit by that ball by accident. Dangerous pass there by McCullough. But Pandice corrals it, and now another long pass. But Don Bosco's aggressiveness is paying off as Howard takes that one, and now the Ironman forced to work it back. Ball loose. McCullough, though, ends up with it. Now he did, and now he loses it, and now being checked, gets hit. Nice check by Sider, but a timeout prior to the hit for Don Bosco, and the Ironman will retain possession. So Don Bosco, having difficulty clearing it from their own zone, has to call a timeout. So with 3:48 to go in the first quarter, the score is Ridgewood 1, Don Bosco Prep 1, here at Charles I. Granatel Memorial Stadium on the campus of Don Bosco Prep. As I mentioned, Ridgewood coming to this game at 3-2. They started off their season with 3 straight wins, including a win over number 16 Huntington Central on the road. But since then, a couple losses to, first one to Bergen Catholic, the number 1 ranked team in the state. That was on April 5th, and then on April 10th, a 10-9 loss to Mountain Lakes in overtime. That dropped them to 3-2. Don Bosco, meanwhile, they were at 4-2. They just snapped their 2-game losing streak on the 10th and with a 3-2 win over Montclair. They also started the season 3-0, including their last win in that streak, an overtime victory over Glen Ridge right here that many of you surely saw on NJ.ORG. A 76 victory that included 3 goals from John Andrew Spellanzani and 3 goals from Riley O'Connell, including the game winner in overtime to move the Ironmen to 3-0. But since then, a couple losses. One to IMG Academy from Bradenton, Florida, came all the way down here. Don Bosco played him tough for 3 quarters, but the Ascenders took over the game late and came away with the 13-10 victory. Ironman followed up with a close 6-5 loss to Ramapo on the 5th, but then their 3-2 win over Montclair got them back on the winning side of the ledger. Don Bosco now looking to clear it again, and now we get another whistle and offsides call on Bosco, and that will give Ridgewood another opportunity. A little bit, so some sloppy play there by them, and first being unable to clear it, and now getting called for offsides. And Ridgewood has the opportunity to take the lead here. Not a ton of scoring here in the early going, but a lot of excitement as both teams have had some prime opportunities, but have been a little bit unable to capitalize on them so far. Ridgewood trying to change that here as Shippey, defended by Spellanzani, now gives it back to Alex Linton. Here is Matt Donovan. That is Linton to get still with the ball. Pass is going to cross to Sider. Good defense by John O'Donnell, the junior, passing it. Intercepted, and now here racing down the other way is Thomas Joyce, the sophomore. Big defensive play, and now Don Bosco looking to capitalize quickly. Connor Carroll thought about it, taking a quick shot, but decided to back it out. Let the Ironmen take their time, and O'Donnell goes out, and Riley O'Connell will no doubt step in, and here he comes into the offensive zone as the Ironmen work it behind the net. Jack Cardew manning the net for the Ridgewood Maroons. This is his first full year as goalie. Spellanzani thinking about it, giving it to goal. Does. Shot by goal, score! And it's 2-1. Great ball moving to the top of the zone by Spellanzani, O'Connell, and then by Gall to fire it into the net. Cardew a little bit overmatched there on that shot as the ball movement made it a little bit too quick for him to stay with, and Gall gets the goal. That's Jack Gall's 8th goal of the season, and probably Riley O'Sullivan's 3rd assist. My mistake. So it is 2-1 Don Bosco, as they're the one who makes the most of their opportunity in this tie game. Face-off won there by Ridgewood, and the Maroons bring it back, looking to try and tie the game. Sipple with it. Shot, though, goes by the net and to the back, where it's picked up by the Maroons. Matt Shippey, the senior, with it. Now back to the top spot. Here is Ross Andrews. And now to number 15, Matt Donovan, a junior. Sider with it now. And now here's Matt Shippey. Ryan Kelly with it. Kelly, a junior. And now Laparo. Good defense, though, by Pandai, showing you why he's going to a D1 school after this season. Or after, not after this year, after the year after this year. I hope I didn't make that too confusing. Ridgewood working around. Shot by Andrews. Goes a little bit wide, but Ridgewood will maintain possession. The ball misses the net at the far end of the field, but there's another ball right there for Shippey to pick up and start this attack again for Ridgewood. Bosco leading this one 2-1 as we tick down towards about 80 seconds to go in the first quarter. Shippey with it. Good defense, though, by Bosco. Andrews. Now Ryan Kelly. Kelly, a junior, only 1 point so far this year, and that's an assist. Number 13, Laparo. Thought he had a lane there, but ended up getting blocked off by Don Bosco. Now looking at firing, it scores! That hit the side of the net, excuse me. And right there to pick it up is McCullough. Laparo certainly putting pressure on the defense there, but to no avail as the shot ended up going wide. And now Don Bosco trying to make the most of their opportunity here comes O'Sullivan. Riley O'Sullivan gives it up to Brooks Rubino, the senior. Pass behind the net, mishandled, though, by Russell Massey. Good checking by Ridgewood, and Massey ends up picking up again off of another check. We get a whistle, though, and Ridgewood will end up with the ball. Tough defense by both teams so far in this game. Ridgewood looking to clear it. Finally does a pass to the middle of the field. The Maroons bring it up slowly. Linton fires it just wide. Ridgewood has had more than their fair share of shots at net, but they haven't gotten them on net enough. And that's one of the reasons they trail this one 2-1 so far. Shippey looking for a shot. Can't get it. Loose ball. Ground ball picked up by Don Bosco, and bringing it down the field is Christopher Howard. And as the first quarter runs out, there's the horn. And at the end of one, the score here at Don Bosco Prep is Don Bosco Prep 2, Ridgewood 1 here on NJ.ORG. Welcome back to Charles I. Granatell Memorial Stadium here in Ramsey, New Jersey. The Don Bosco Prep Ironmen leading the Ridgewood Maroons 2-1 as we start the second quarter. Don Bosco getting goals from Riley O'Sullivan and Jack Gall, while Ridgewood with a goal from Ross Andrews. First of all, before we go any further, I want to give a big thank you to a couple people. Jordan Edwards, a senior on Ridgewood, and to one of their assistant coaches, Rich Brooks, who helped me confirm the names and numbers on the Ridgewood team before we started today. Without them, I would be a little lost here today, but a big thanks to both Rich Brooks and Jordan Edwards. Jordan Edwards, a senior on this Ridgewood team, number 5. And now we're having a little trouble with the scoreboard here today, getting it set to 12 minutes to start the second quarter. Ridgewood came into the preseason ranked 15th on NJ.com's list. And they have a couple of players who will be going on to play lacrosse in college. While Don Bosco, meanwhile, came into the preseason also as a ranked team, and with a few players, as I mentioned, including Greg Pandice, Riley O'Sullivan, will be moving on to play lacrosse collegiately in college. Jack Gall will be heading to Hamilton College after the season for his freshman year of college lacrosse. Greg Pandice, as I mentioned, is heading to UMass, but prior to that, he would be taking a PG year, a post-grad year, and he'll be attending the Salisbury School in Connecticut. Ridgewood, so looking to tie the game, Matt Donovan with it. And now Sider defended by Pandice, and now here is Alex Linton. Ridgewood a loose ball, but picked up quite easily by Owen Smith without much pressure put on by Pandice. Sider with it. Good defense by Don Bosco. Thomas Joyce with the defense there. Now pass across. Thinking about a shot there. Shippey with it behind the net. Now moving in front, looking for a shot. Fires one just wide, and it goes to the net. Now we'll see who gets that one. And Don Bosco ends up with it. If you hear any loud banging sounds on the broadcast, that's me and the other people in here trying to avoid the bugs that are flying around that have made a home here in the Don Bosco press box. But we'll survive. Prep moving it around, looking for an opportunity to take a 2-goal lead here as they lead 2-1 with under 11 minutes to go in the second quarter. Gall with it. As I mentioned, Gall heading to Hamilton College after the season. He already has his 8th goal of the year so far today. Gall and Spallanzani passing it back and forth. Gall bringing it in. Well, Sullivan with it, but lost it. Trying to pick it back up. Ball goes flying. Another loose ball. Connor Carroll had a shot at it, but it ends up coming to number 2, Ridgewood. Ridgewood passing around. We get a whistle, and that is a timeout for the Maroons. So the timeout by Ridgewood with 10:17 to go in the second quarter. The score still 2-1. Don Bosco. You're watching this game on NJ.ORG Varsity. And you can catch more action here on NJ.org tomorrow as we head to IMG to cover a lacrosse game there. Excuse me, IHA, not IMG. IMG is in Florida. That would be a long trip to cover a game. That will be IHA and MAWA tomorrow afternoon around 4 p.m. Ridgewood, coached by Mike Pounds. Don Bosco, headed by Mike Springer. Both teams out of the timeout, heading back onto the field. Ridgewood will start this with possession here. Ridgewood has it, pass across the field, and they bring it up here on offense. Ridgewood moving it around slowly. Matt Shippey has it behind the net. And Owen Smith, and now Ridgewood working around back to Shippey, tossing it to Sider. Linton with it, and an easy pass to number 15, Matt Donovan. Donovan, a junior, 4 goals so far this year. Pass to Shippey, a little bit high, gets by him, goes out of bounds, and Don Bosco Prep catches a break as the poor pass by Andrew Sider, the senior, goes out of bounds. And now Bosco with another opportunity to increase their 2-1 lead. Chris Rilkoff, the senior, with it. Excuse me, the sophomore. Bringing it up, and now passes it to Ryan Devaney. Devaney, another sophomore for Don Bosco. A lot of underclassmen are seeing plenty of action for the Ironmen, but it hasn't hurt their record at all. And a lot of that is a result of a couple of injuries they suffered of Andrew Stefani and Mike D'Alessandro, two of their better players who both suffered knee injuries. Stefani before the season even started, D'Alessandro early in the season, that are causing them to miss the rest of the year. But these underclassmen have stepped up for the Ironmen, and as a result, that's why they still have a winning record. And that will no doubt benefit this team in the future when these players are juniors and seniors and they have all this action, they have all this experience that they wouldn't have gotten otherwise. Spallanzani with it at the top, defended by the junior Ryan Kelly. Spallanzani bringing it in, looking for a lane, but mostly looking for a passing lane. Don Bosco working it behind the net. Brooks Rubino with it, now passing it to O'Sullivan to Gall at the top. O'Sullivan defended by Matt Donovan. Gall, excuse me, with it. O'Sullivan now with it. Bosco working around Kelly. Good defense, though, not letting him get an open space to take a shot. Both teams playing very tight defense here in the first half, as evidenced by the 2-1 score as we tick down under 8 minutes. 7:53 to go in the second quarter. O'Sullivan with a nice move towards the net. Good check, though, by the Maroons. And now the ball still loose. Eventually comes into the crease for Cardew, who picks it up unmolested. And now the Maroons with it. As I said, neither team offering it, giving any inches on defense. Don Bosco trying to keep them from clearing it. Now Cardew with it, bringing it up, and now a pass as the man comes open and he hits Connor Gilgan. Gilgan bringing it up. And now we get a whistle against Ridgewood, and that will start Don Bosco on the attack once again. 7:15 to go in the second quarter. Still 2-1 Ironmen. You could say both teams have been a little bit sloppy here in the early goings, but a lot of it's just been solid defense by teams, whether it's been in their own offensive zone, not letting one of the teams clear, or in the defensive zone, not letting them get an open lane to take a shot, having an open look at the net. Rubino with it now. Good defense, though, once again, by the Maroons. Riccardi with the defense there, and now here's Gall with it, thinking about a shot. O'Sullivan really wanted to take a shot there, but thought better of it. Spellanzani with it, defended by Kelly. Looking for an open lane. Behind the net, Carroll. Massey. Riccardi again, and now here is O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan, as I mentioned, a commit to Syracuse, and he's only a junior, and that was just a verbal commitment, so it might not be over for him recruiting-wise. Pass trying to get to Spellanzani, but a great interception there by Ridgewood, and down they come the field again. Matola with it, and now Ridgewood pass to Sider, shoots and somehow missed the net. It was just him and McCullough there, but he couldn't find Twine with that shot. Now Ridgewood is shot, score! And that one finds the net from Owen Smith, and we are even at 2. Owen Smith with his 4th goal of the season, and one of the many multi-sport athletes on the Ridgewood Maroons lacrosse team finds an opportunity and takes advantage of it to even the score. And the senior Smith evens the score with 6:02 to go here in the first half, very nearly at exactly the halfway point in the second quarter. Now the face-off, won by Oliver Sipple. And now here's Owen Smith with it again, but not taking a shot just yet. Shippey with it. Sider looked like he had an open opportunity, but Shippey couldn't get the ball to him. As a result, he works it back to Smith. And eventually the ball comes to Alex Linton. Linton, a senior with just 1 point so far in the season, 1 goal. Now pass, good passing, Smith again, he scores again. Great pass by Sider, and Smith finds an open lane and finds the net. And just like that, it's 3-2. 2 goals in less than a minute for Ridgewood, and they suddenly find themselves ahead 3-2. Owen Smith, who came into this game with 5 goals on the season, his season high is 3, and he scored those 3 goals against Huntington on the 29th in an 8-6 Maroon victory. And he's just 1 goal away from matching that season high with plenty of time to go here today. And another face-off won by the Maroons. Oliver Sipple has been dominating that face-off circle so far today. And that's something Don Bosco can't afford to continue to let happen if they want to win this game. Sider thought about passing it back to Andrews, but decided against it, but eventually does give it up to Andrews. Linton, the senior, with it. Linton's 1 goal this season. His only point came against Bergen Catholic in Ridgewood's first loss of the year. And Ridgewood, who looked very deliberate early and kind of slow tempo on offense, has all of a sudden moved into an up-tempo offense where they are putting pressure on every aspect of the Ironman's defense. Linton with it again, defended by Pandice and then by number 28, Thomas Joyce. Working around quickly. Smith thought about a shot, decided against it. Laparo. Shot goes wide, but Ridgewood will maintain possession with 4:41 to go. 3-2, Ridgewood has the lead over Don Bosco Prep, trying to avenge a playoff defeat last year at the hands of the Iron Men. And it couldn't get much sweeter than doing it here in Don Bosco Prep's own backyard. Andrews trying to find a lane, can't, decides to pass it off. Sider with it now behind the net. Passing it, Smith fires again, saved that time by McCullough. Smith trying for the hat trick, trying for, I guess you'd call it a natural hat trick. That would be 3 straight goals for him. But McCullough said, not this time, sonny boy. Or probably he said something that sounded a little bit more hip than that. Smith with it. Sider. Long pass, but a good pass. Shot. Score! Laparo. It gets Ridgewood on the board again, and now it's 4-2. 3 unanswered goals for the Ridgewood Maroons. And they find themselves with a 2-goal lead now, and their supporters who are here at this game are more than a little bit happy about that. Matt Laparo scores his 9th goal of the season. And now here's another task for Spallanzani, trying to win a faceoff from Oliver Sipple, something he has not had a whole lot of success with so far today. Spallanzani is going to have to do something to try and win faceoffs, because, and there you go, he can't win that one again. Sipple has almost monopolized that faceoff circle today. And that's a big reason why Ridgewood's moved in front, because Don Bosco has not had possession during this run. Shot, Sider scores! And it's 5-2, and Ridgewood almost is starting to run away with this one here in the second quarter. Another goal for Ridgewood gives them a 3-goal lead. And Don Bosco is going to have to do something, or they're going to go into halftime without any momentum. 3:43 to go in the second quarter. It is 5-2 Don Bosco, and here comes Spallanzani again, trying to beat Sipple somehow, some way. He's going to have to try something different because whatever he's doing is not working. And there he goes. Spallanzani gets it working that time. And now here's Don Bosco's chance to try and get back in this game. Bad pass, though. A loose ball. Rubino fighting for it for Don Bosco, but we get a hold call, and Ridgewood is off and running again. And the Maroons bring it up. Here is Linton. Defended by John O'Donnell. And now gives it up to number 11, Ryan Kelly. Sider with it, the possessor of the last goal for Ridgewood. They already lead by 3 as we go down under 3 minutes in the second quarter. Sider, Linton, and now Laparo. Thought about a shot, but decided against, defended by O'Donnell and by Pandice. I was going to say that's Jack Gall, but that's the wrong team. That's Linton for Ridgewood. Gall's for the other team. Sider with it again. Thought about a shot. Thought about passing it in the middle to Laparo, but he was well guarded. Now a pass. Linton fires, blocked though by Spallanzani, being checked again as he moves it out of the zone and will reclaim the ball without any hassle. Laparo moving past O'Donnell, now pass towards the middle, trying to get the Sider off. Deflection. It comes to Sider though. Fires, saved by McCullough. And if McCullough can start making some saves, that might be the momentum that Don Bosco needs to get something going on offense. Howard bringing it up here. Loses it, though. We get a whistle. And it is a timeout for Don Bosco, which is a smart move, almost like a basketball coach taking a timeout after the other team goes on a big run. Don Bosco gets possession. They call timeout, so they were able to regroup and get something started on offense to try and get the last goal here before the half. 2:03 to go in the second quarter. The score, Ridgewood 5, Don Bosco 2. The Maroons have scored 4 unanswered goals and had all the momentum for a while. But now things have slowed down a little bit, and the pace of the game has moved even, has become even between the two teams. Ridgewood started out the game by scoring the first goal. That was Ross Andrews who put that one in the net. Excuse me, that was Riley O'Sullivan who scored the first goal for Don Bosco. Ridgewood evened it up at 1-1 with a goal from Ross Andrews, but Jack Gall made it 2-1 with his 8th goal of the season. But since then, it's been all Maroons. 4 straight goals. 2 by Owen Smith, 2 in a row. 1 by Matt Laparo, and the final one by Andrew Sider. And that's put them in the position that they're up right now with a 3-goal lead. 2:03 to go in the second quarter. Don Bosco, however, coming out of this timeout, will look to cut into that lead just a little. And in all likelihood, they'll hope that that would be the last goal before the end of the first half. And the big key so far today for Ridgewood, without a doubt, has been Oliver Sipple and the senior's ability to win, it seems like, every face-off that we've had this afternoon. And those face-offs were a huge part of the run that Ridgewood went on to take them from down a goal to up 3. And now we start again. It's Spallanzani with it. Spallanzani bringing it in. Defended by number 34, Oliver Sipple. Spallanzani with a nice move around him. His Skull tried to set a pick now to O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan defended by Jack Matola. Now Don Bosco working it behind the net. Spallanzani again defended by Sipple. Trying to get it around him for an easy shot. Good defense. A bounce shot. Saved, though. It goes a ground ball now. Both teams fighting for it within easy reach of the net. Ball rolling around. Looks like the goalie has it. We get a whistle, a push, and that will give Don Bosco possession here. As that shot by Spallanzani created some chaos for about 10 seconds in front of the net. But Don Bosco, thanks to the whistle by the referee, emerges with possession. And that'll be Jack Gall who brings it out for the Ironmen. They still trail this one 5-2 with 1:25 to go. 85 seconds to play in the first half. This game started out pretty low scoring, but the way Ridgewood has been putting him in the net lately, shot by Gall just wide. Carter didn't make contact there, and he didn't need to, as that shot was not on net. And now Cardew with it, using the crease for protection. Finds Riccardi. Riccardi, the senior, good defense by Rubino, but he manages to get by him and passes it up. Sipple brings it up. Now here is Siders. We tick down 52 seconds and still rolling in the first half. And you got to believe that Ridgewood, even if they don't score, will be content to just hold this ball until the half. Maybe take a shot late in the half and just go into the second half with the lead that they currently hold. Working around, thinking about a shot. Now bringing it in is Laparo. Laparo let him get pretty close to the goal. Now Shippey with it, moving around, trying to get in front, but good defense. Now he moves around the other side, fires, just misses. That was almost like a putt, the way the ball rolled by the net, but couldn't find Twine. Now Sider with it, 17 seconds, we get a whistle, and that's a timeout for Ridgewood. Shippey made a really nice move there on Thomas Joyce. Had him overcommit to one side, then move back to the other side, and had an open shot on McCullough in the net, but just couldn't get it in for what would have been Ridgewood's 6th goal of the game, and what would have been Shippey's first goal of the game. But as it stands now, 5-2 Ridgewood with 17.1 seconds to go before the halftime horn sounds. This is a Ridgewood team that has been good for a while. This isn't their first rodeo with the top teams. They had last year 5 players sign national letters of intent. And their girls lacrosse team also representing itself. They have 4 players on this year's team who are going to move on to play collegiately. So lacrosse is not just an afterthought at Ridgewood. A lot of schools, it's just football and basketball, and that's about it. But the Maroons put an emphasis on this sport just as much as some of their others, as evidenced by the accomplishments of a lot of the players, both in the boys and girls lacrosse teams. Ridgewood will start it with possession. It's Andrew Sider, the senior, who has it on the right side. That was Sider's 8th goal of the season earlier today. Sider trying to move it in front, but McCullough, good defense though. Now passing it around. Smith fires it high and wide, and it goes to the net with 8 seconds to play. And Don Bosco will end up with possession, and this is Dan Johnson, the senior. Johnson, the senior, who's heading to St. Michael College to play lacrosse collegiately after this season. Long pass bouncing around, trying to get to Connor Carroll, but it rolls by him. O'Sullivan picks it up as time expires in the first half. So we go to the half here on NJ.ORG Varsity. And here in Charles I. Granatell Memorial Stadium, the score at halftime is the Ridgewood Maroons 5, the Don Bosco Prep Ironmen 2.